Well, big welcome back and welcome to the Humble Climb podcast. We're going to get into these guests shortly, but a very quick thank you as always to the Bloodline that continues to fund and help this amazing project that we've got going, and our incredible sponsors. We couldn't do it without you. Starting off with Bonza Snowballs, the best marshmallows in the business. If you haven't got some, hit them up and hit me up, and I'll personally send some your way. Gigi Hair and Kids, there's a few, most of you actually got pretty good hair. Well, I was there yesterday getting my hair done, and as you can tell, it looks fresh as. So thank you as well to Marissa. Barbecue Brothers Catering. You were away. You couldn't make my birthday, but you two were at my birthday. How good was the catering for Barbecue Brothers?
It's actually very good.
Yeah, remember that? The Giddle? That was sick. Andy and the guys, man, they made a mad spree. B&A Car and Truck Repairs, they just continue to do things amazingly with that. And the Anagnostiadis family. Can't thank them as well. And then the last one that's come on board recently, Body Contour and Laser Clinic. Being, obviously, people know that I need a bit of contouring myself outside of the gym. So a massive thanks to these guys for continuing to back our project and everything that we're doing here at the Humble Climb. But a bit of a different episode today. Friends of mine that have got this awesome, I'd say, product that they've just taken by storm, because now the biggest thing is since the success of, obviously, the Socceroos a few years back, but soccer's getting bigger in this country, and I've got three of the best heads that are in the football industry here with us today. Salim Mahazi, Rashid Mahazi, and Luke Yego.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
We'll go Jego, but either one's fine.
Man, I actually thought I was being like pronunciation correct.
Oh my God.
I actually said,
where you are, bro.
I actually said, I was going to say Jego, but I thought it was Yego.
It depends
Where's he from? Where's he from? Where's that from?
I'm going to say...
Yeah, Spanish, Yego.
Yego.
Yeah, Yego probably is, but Jego, aren't you guys like Polish?
No.
Austrian.
Austrian born.
we
But
go.
English parents.
So I knew the Austrian, yeah? Yeah, because I know the Austrian cuz. But a massive thank you. Obviously, these guys I've known for years, these two, Salim and Rashid, but Luke, I've met over the last couple of years, and these guys are goats at everything that they're doing at Beyond Technique Football School. I love what they're doing. I've personally had friends that have sent their kids down to their football school, which is being run at the moment, I'd say, all over Melbourne, and they're taking it by storm. I always find that there is so many different products out there now, or companies offering the same thing, but these guys are truly have got a holistic approach to everything, which we're going to dive into. But co-founders, welcome to the Humble Climb, boys.
Thanks, Timmy.
Your first time.
My first time on a podcast.
As a podcast.
As a podcast altogether, actually.
Yeah. So Virginity Broken.
Uh-huh.
Yours?
Yeah.
Virginity. Your head's been across a few.
Yeah, a few making the people edit a lot of content out.
You've actually
we'll try to keep it pretty good.
Van.
To the PG.
You've actually been in this van a couple of times, which is even funny. So, but everyone's so different in there, right? Obviously, you've got a brother that's currently playing it. Is he playing at Hibs?
He's
Jimmy?
at Hibs, Scotland.
Yeah, he's at Hibs. So, Hibernian, is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah, Hibernian. So, Luke's brother Jimmy is currently playing there. Rashid's obviously played at top flight in K-League, and also obviously with Victory down here around Western Sydney Wanderers. So, do you remember the game that I was at? I was at Victory in Sydney, by the way. You got me ticks.
No.
In Sydney at Allianz back in the day.
Yeah, there's a photo of you.
There's a photo of us two together. I was heaps skinnier back then.
I remember, man.
Bro, I remember that.
What were you doing in Sydney?
Remember I used to go up there for my ex-girlfriend?
No, I don't remember that. No, what should I be not laughing at that?
No, it's not. You should
all
laugh. And Salim I'd almost call like the brains behind it all. Obviously, he's a soccer nut. He knows everything about it. He's a PT. He's got one of the best riggers going around and some awesome tats. But bro, this guy, you know what though? If you want this guy to run a business to a ground, I'll never forget. Obviously, we jumped on as a sponsor, or we're going to transfer you the money now. But obviously, we're jumping on as a sponsor for Btfs, Beyond Technique Football School. But this guy's presentation to us was off the charts.
Yeah, he's been in the game for a while, huh?
Bro, this guy
behind closed doors.
It's pretty cool what he does. So, and I think that's the bar to business. But I want to get into first of all and start off with Beyond Technique Football School. Where did the idea come from?
I think
Rash. Yeah, it's funny. I mean, again, going back to this bloody truck, it actually started with me and Jake.
Yeah.
So me finishing playing, I kind of was like, I never want to look at a soccer ball ever again.
Yeah.
And then maybe 6 months later, Jake called me and he goes, "Hey man, we pretty much did a PhD in football and we're doing nothing with it. Do you want to do a little bit of coaching here and there? Like I've got a few parents that are interested." We kind of went, yeah, let's do it. I always loved coaching. It was fun when I did it on the side. And then once I sort of started doing it, I was like, actually, I really want to take this quite seriously. And then as we were talking, Jake was doing obviously the Unleashed podcast and he was very busy. And it got to the point where he's like, realistically, man, I don't have the time to do it as serious as you want to do it. So then me and Luke had actually it's quite organic really how it came about. Me and Luke had been FaceTiming while I was in Korea. He was in Norway at the time, right?
Yeah.
Were you playing top flight in Norway?
Second divvy.
No way.
Yeah. Well, at the time it was third. But me and Rash obviously going through.
Yeah, so we were just
stuff,
like...
And you boys both met from the victory system? Or did you know each other from juniors or something?
I know Jimmy more.
I remember him coming on trial. I was sitting there. I was in the youth team.
Oh, right.
And obviously like vying for first team deal, and he'd been doing really well at, I think it was Northcote, right?
Yeah, Northcote.
John K. Memorial, baby.
And then he came down for a trial, and I just thought, fuck, I'm in a bit of trouble here.
No way. Well, you guys playing for the same spot?
Right.
Same spot, yeah.
True.
No way.
It's true, actually. Because we were playing in the youth team together a lot, actually.
And like, you know what it is, when a trialist comes in, especially you're like trying to look for, all the flaws and stuff. I was like, shit, I could be in a bit of trouble here. Because you did really well straight away.
So Jimmy stayed on and then you went overseas?
Yeah, long story short, I did my knee after victory, and then I did a stint in the NPL and then went over.
How funny is that, right? Like, just on that, it's something we were talking about the other day, me with now at Rowville, with Stuart Munro, and talking about how, like, we childhood somewhat family friends, like our mums knew each other. I knew Jimmy since he was a kid, whatever. You kind of know each other and you act like friends, right?
Yeah.
But then in training sessions, and no one really talks about this, you're so unbelievably selfish.
Yeah.
And you're just like if your team scores but you're on the bench, you're like, yeah, well done, but you're kind of like, fuck.
Yeah, and I get that.
And if that player in your position, even though he's maybe your best mate, you hug each other in training.
You're playing
if he's playing shit, you're buzzing. You're like, fuck yeah, I'm going to play next week.
Yeah, I get
It's so funny
it's just off topic, and I know we're going to get back to it, but I was talking about this with the AFL grand final the other day with the guys, where I was saying no one could understand where I was coming from. I was saying that if I was a player that didn't play in the grand final or AFL, the AFL grand final, and if my team was playing in it, and this is going to sound really wrong, so I don't mean to come across this way, but if they lost, maybe I wouldn't be that upset as if they won.
Yeah. As shattered, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my experience with that was like all the way up to a semi-final, you're kind of thinking in that way. But then grand final, you're like, no, I want to win.
Even if you're not playing?
Even if you're not playing.
Yeah, okay. So I've never been in that position, honestly, and that's why I not think like that, but I've always
You've never been on the bench, huh?
Bro, I've been on the bench so much. I've either been on the bench or not get a game. Bro, I used to play AFL, which I should never have given up soccer, but football, the world game. But I used to play AFL, and I'd only play if it was 100%, bro. But I'd only play against the shit teams.
Yeah.
And they put me in like the middle, bro. Like they put me in the middle, like I'd tear it up, and the guys were so shit, but I was so good for a shit player. Like I made these guys, I actually look like a Brownlow medalist out there.
Talking about AFL or something?
No, like proper when I was playing AFL. But what I'm saying is, like I'm obviously a football nut, but proper football. Yeah. But anyway, so getting back to where it is, obviously.
Yes. So
you guys are FaceTiming.
Yeah. So we were FaceTiming, and we were basically both like psychological, philosophical thinking brains.
Yeah.
And we're kind of like just talking about what's the best way to like approach teaching kids, what's the best way to like learn how to play football. And we were just having these organic conversations. Then when Jake had said to me, I don't really have the time, I kind of was like, I don't want to do it by myself. It's like, fuck, I've been having I've been planning this with Luke for about 2 years while we've been overseas.
It just worked out well.
So I called him and he was like, yeah, 100%. And then was like maybe a few days later, we were like, we probably need someone with a little bit more of like a logistics side brain to come in, and that's like, as I said, OCD. Yeah. So we've got.
But I was actually thinking about this the other day. Like we've got a really interesting mix of like personalities and how it works in the business. Because like I would say Rash is like very creative. Like we have to temper him down with ideas because he's just. But it's brilliant because we get
3 times a week
him coming in with like random stuff he wants to do. Yeah. And we have to kind of like temper expectations. I'm probably a bit more like in the financials, and that's my background now with work and strategy kind of type stuff. And then we all do a bit of everything, but I think also Sal's really good, like in the detail, like day to day of like, this is what we need to do. Because me and Rash will have ideas, but like, and we'll know like generally what we want to do, but in terms of bringing them to life, like I think that's what I like
most about it. Like, and again, even just talking with these guys, like, you know, at coffees or dinners, however many we've had, your role is almost, I know you didn't play football at the highest level, so I don't mean it that way, but your role is almost more important than theirs in some way, the way that I look at it, because you're bringing it together.
I wouldn't say necessarily more important, but I just think, potentially
not
maybe
more important in the way, but like they couldn't do it without you.
No, I don't think I could do it without them, really. But I think
response, bro.
We trained
This is
see what I mean? That's what I mean. This guy's like This guy's like so media driven already. He's given like 1 week at a time.
He's so organised. He did 4 weeks of media training before this podcast.
Do you know what I mean? It's so good. That's why I love it. But what I'm saying is like, obviously I'm talking about it as an example when you sent the presentation across. I was blown away.
I think for me, like, so my background, I graduated with a sport management degree, and I did a bit of study over in the US. Part of that study over in the US, playing wise, I never got to the top or anything anywhere close to the top. I played a little bit of. Hey, yeah, exactly. I was probably close to your path, Dimmy. But I think with it, I realised that there's a chance for a lot of kids or a lot of people playing football that you're not necessarily. You can do everything you want and everything in your power to try and be a professional footballer. And sometimes the cards you're dealt force you out of the game.
Yeah.
And I had a few injuries and that sort of thing, and I didn't play at the top level. Maybe not because of that. Maybe I wasn't good enough, but I didn't play at the top level, and I went down more the administrative path.
Yeah. You're working at Essendon Footy Club as well, yeah?
Yeah. So I did a stint straight out of college, straight into Essendon Footy Club, doing their multicultural development. So basically working within sort of like a marketing role with different communities, trying to bring them from different migrant communities, trying to bring them across into football. So at that stage, most of the migrant communities are graduating towards the real football that I'm doing now. But at the time, Essendon wanted someone with a face that wasn't your traditional, I suppose, Anglo-Saxon Australian, to bring those guys from those communities across into AFL. So I did that for, I think it was about 2 years. And then from there, I moved to the AFL. I moved through Cricket Victoria parts and things like that, doing similar roles within the marketing teams. And for me, it gave me a really, really good, I suppose, understanding of how the business side of sport and how it works, and that there is a career in that side of things. And there's an importance to that side of things in terms of the development for the overall game and kids in the community and things like that.
I love it. I reckon it's probably, so right now I think the biggest thing aside is obviously there's a few people starting to bob up with these football schools and whatnot. I'm always going to be biased, and I admit it. I don't even care what people say. Like, you guys are going to be always superior and number one in my eyes. So I don't care what anyone, no one can tell me otherwise.
But it's true though. Yeah.
But you know what it is? It's because, well, one, we're mates, but two, I actually believe in your product. I know we've had a lot of things about this, because you go for the holistic approach, not about what you do passing wise.
And I think just going back to the us behind it, which is another reason why it works well, is like the difference of the personalities behind it. A lot of soccer academies are just maybe soccer people that are doing it. 100%. They're like soccer people. When I say that, is probably my type of brain, understand like technique, but they don't, like you said, very important for the game. I think the biggest problem in Australian football right now, okay, yes, coaching is probably not up there, but it's actually the infrastructure, which is the problem in growing the game.
From at the grassroots level.
Yeah.
Do you know what?
So they need people like that's potentially not played the highest level, but has that kind of brain, really understands how to set things up.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's funny you say that, because I was having this conversation with someone the other day that was saying that some of the best coaches in the world were not the best players.
Yeah, definitely. Like you, Marine. Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you look at like Postecoglou.
Yeah.
He's a great example. And he's almost doing so much for football in itself now. But talk me through at the moment with how many kids you started off at, is in training, and how many you're at now, because there's a big difference.
It was funny. I mean, I put a post up the other day just talking about the importance of marketing. And, you know, at the start, we kind of had, whether it was overt or covert, we kind of had this belief that, okay, we're not the biggest names in football, but we'll put a names on it, some kids will come. We put this down. First, 8 weeks, it was me and 2 kids, or me and 1 kid. Yosef, credit to him, he stayed on the whole time. The other one's left, but for ages it was just the two of us. It was like nothing was going.
So for 8 weeks you were doing 2 kids.
Yeah. And my experience coming on, I think I came on to the last in terms of like a founder. I came on last in the piece, And I thought straight away from a business mindset, easy sell to ex-Melbourne Victory players wanting to start an academy. The rest of the academies out there, the majority of them are people like myself, probably not the most experienced, not the biggest profiles. And then even down the track, like once the business got going and we bring player appearances in, no problems, like high profile player appearances. And the reality is none of that stuff really, really drew players in. I don't think it was more when we actually started to learn how to market the programs, get the programs in front of parents, in front of kids, that really sort of started to drive things.
So so we start with 2 players in 8 weeks, but I want this number because I want to particularly clip this up when the time comes.
How many kids we have currently that they're looking after?
Well, it depends.
I think
Depends how you want to break it down. I mean,
total, if you look at the kids under our care, maybe 120 or something like that.
It's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's so cool. And I love the way you like it. I love the way that I went about it, obviously, because you guys are doing cool things. Like I know everyone's doing. You're doing these the school holiday programs. I can't remember what you call
Train Like a Pro.
Train Like a Pro. That's the one. I had the pleasure of coming down to one when Pete's kids came down, and they got so much out of it. I mean, that was an awesome day for them.
Yeah.
But just to give everyone an insight into Train Like a Pro, and I'm probably going to pump the program a bit now, so I'm going to plug it. So
it's my favorite one.
But I loved it, right? Where it was So for anyone listening that's got a couple of kids, Train Like a Pro was one day.
Yeah.
It was that, and back then, it's probably changed now, but it was at Monash Uni then. And it was obviously soccer drills, but then the kids are doing yoga. Kids are doing, nutrition, about what to eat pre-game. And these are kids that are ranging from 6 to, were they 6 to 12?
8 to 12.
8 to 12 they were, that's right. Kids yoga, kids nutrition. There was a little bit on like psychology.
Sports
psychology.
ice bath.
I found it so fascinating because these kids that I know, Pete's kids that came out of it were buzzing because now Georgia in particular, before she plays a soccer game, she'll do the thing with bananas that you guys said.
Does she do?
No way.
Do you know what I mean?
That's awesome.
Snacks.
That's awesome.
That for me, like I hear it and I'm like, oh, that's so awesome because even if they didn't take anything else out of it, but they took one thing.
And this is the thing with kids, you don't know which are the things, like they could be the smallest things that you say to them or do in the training session that have a genuine impact on them. And like even like the Matildas, right? We've got girls, we did this little project, was like pick your hero.
Yeah.
And I said, from my perspective, one of the biggest things that drove me and my ambitions and stuff like that were looking up to people like Tim Cahill, Archie Thompson, Harry Kuehl, reading their books, understanding what they did pre-game, what they did on their days off, all that kind of thing. So we did this for the World Cup. Pick your hero. You had to pick a person that was coming to the World Cup and study their life, understand their family, look into their, all this stuff. Now we've got girls wearing gloves like
Mary Fowler,
amazing. Doing their hair like Hayley Rasso, like just the little things that you think. And we talked about it, was kind of, this is a nice little idea, and it's had like massive impact on them.
So also, I feel like it goes back to our philosophy as well, as like you don't know what the kids are going to take away from what you're doing.
Yeah,
and we've always spoke about that, like you have to create the environment for them to learn about themselves as well, and like doing those programs is exactly that. Like some of the psychology stuff, it might not be for some of them, but for some of them, they love it.
It sticks to certain people.
And it's about trialing different things at a young age, understanding yourself, and then you bring that into your game.
100%. And the thing is that you're not trying to breed future. Well, you want to breed future stars, but you're not trying to build a professional environment where they can't be kids. You're not treating them like adults. You're treating them like kids. Yeah. You're having fun with the drill. I remember once we were talking,
being able to disguise those adult conversation, those adult topics through fun and play.
What was the one that you told me once that you were doing? It was like the Caterpillar or something. No, it wasn't a Caterpillar. There was some game that you used to play and the kids used to love it where you would like act like an animal.
The dinosaur game.
Was it the dinosaur
game? This is Archie. One of these kids.
Those ones?
Dinosaur, but what are you? What
I'm trying to say is that I love the fact that like you guys almost are having fun with it. Like you're not treating it as if we're the like. Do you know what I mean? You're breaking down barriers to these kids as to what you're doing.
And I think like for us, probably all of us, just also see which other coaches or which other people are good at having an impact on kids. And I think when I've seen the people that have the best impact on kids, it's like they push them to have really high standards, but they also have that arm around the shoulder. You can talk to me, like let I'll help you out. And it's like also there's a friendship there as well, and they show them that they really care about them, love them. They can meet them on their level, right? Which is why when I speak to them, I squat down, right? Awesome. So I don't talk to them like an adult talking down. I'll squat down, get on their level, just little things like that.
I love it. So talk me through now, Beyond Technique Football School. You guys come up with the name and everything like that. I mean, I don't think it's enough to get, Btfs is what I know it as. But your programs now that you run, because you sort of got the was it the West or the North?
So we've got, I suppose, we've got elite academies set up, some in the Southeast, some in the Northwest. So basically all over Melbourne. There's one close to Fawkner, one in Clayton, one in Springvale, for example. And then we have a couple of other programs. We've got the holiday program, so they train like a pro. We've just started going into schools with the Technique Acceleration program. What else am I missing? Any there? We've got a couple.
And we've got we do some partnerships with some external organizations as well. So that's like another product offering. So it's just getting that balance between all these ideas, but also we want to nail our core products, especially Elite Academy, and grow that in the right way to a high quality.
So you guys are training the kids. I mean, so let's just say hypothetically, I'm a child. Actually, I wouldn't say even hypothetically, I am a child, but if I'm 12 and I want to join your program, and I live in Oakley, which probably is realistic for me, not too far from Vanilla. So I would join at Clayton. How many times a week am I training?
One session. One session at the moment. We've got a few kids that do 2.
Yep.
The other thing is, Dim, which is talking about the numbers that we have. To be honest, we could have more.
I know you could. That's why it's funny.
And that's the other thing that we're sort of learning from what other academies do, and we don't want to do, sort of learning from their mistakes. And we see, okay, other academies don't leave any money on the table because they just take all kids cool, and then they lose the quality of the service and
the ratios,
kids ratios. So we always trying to sort of manage that.
Yeah.
So at the moment, we're kind of trying to nail one session per week for one player, right? Like Dimmy's coming. How can we make that the best service for Dimmy for one session per week? Once we get that, we've got some things that we're trying to build to. Probably the biggest thing that we're trying to build to is a select squad.
Yeah.
And that's sort of narrowing it down to a group that's the really strong group, that's players sort of at similar levels, because at the moment we've got players, some are beginners, some are well experienced, so trying to get that group that's obviously by their orientation in terms of what they want to get out of the football, because you have some kids that really want to play at the top level, some kids that just play to learn, and just enjoy themselves. So trying to get that select squad, I think, is something in the next little period that probably try to build out.
I reckon there's one thing that I don't like about the way that our structure is here with football teams, and I'm talking juniors wise. This is just my opinion, and I know it happens a lot overseas, but is these trials for kids, like under 9s, under 10s trials, 11s. They start to split up the best friends. Yep. Then I just think about it from a psychological point of view. The kids go to school together. They're best mates. One's better than the other. One makes the A team, one makes the B team. Then the bullying starts. I'm better than you, all that type of stuff. And I know there's stuff that we can't always do with it, but that's the one thing that I don't like about our pathways. I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on that.
It's a tough one because I'm probably more guided by these two on this, but there's always a debate between how much competition and how much emphasis do we put on competition is healthy, and I suppose the opposite of that, where you don't have competition, it's all about participation medals. How healthy is that? What messages are you giving? And I think it's about trying to find a balance, and I think these guys do it brilliantly. And they've got their own philosophies and own opinions on it.
Well, I think for me, it's fairly simple, right? It's just about having competition is reality of the world. Whether you ignore it or not, it's there, right? For me, when I'm talking again to Dimmy as the kid, it's about Dimmy having high standards for themselves compared to themselves. That's the way I communicate about everything. Get here on time, do your absolute best, improve yourself every day, and it's about you competing with yourself. Now, obviously, as you get older, it starts to be, the reality is there is competition out there.
And I think as you get older, it needs to.
The thing is, the question is when is the right time?
The cutoff,
is when,
100%.
And you're almost doing a disservice to a kid if you're sheltering them from that for too long.
For sure.
because then they get into the real world and they go, oh, shit, I'm not equipped with the skills mentally, physically to deal with this. And how do I cope? Whereas I think we've got the ability, because we get them so young, that we're able to nurture them and educate them and find the right times to deliver these messages.
Yeah, I also think there's
It's
a kid needs to learn as well. Like, we want to build them as humans, and like their self-worth needs to come internally, not externally. And so it's every time there is competition and there's a reaction from them, like it's an opportunity for us to help them and to teach them and be like, okay, you may be feeling down about this. Like Rash said, did you do the best you did today? And have you done in preparation everything that you could have done? Like, that's where you get your self-worth from.
And then you have like as you said, you're doing them a disservice. The reality of the world is there is competition, right? And there is, because of that, inferred in that is there is failure, and an opportunity for growth is to learn how to deal with failure. And if you create an environment that there is no failure, you're never developing their resilience. Does that make sense?
100%. And that's why I think that everything's always got a cutoff. You know, that you can't, as an example, in that under 13s, which is what, year 7?
Yeah.
Traditionally, good luck. Like, there needs to be, you know, interleague or whatever you call it, Vic State country and all that type of jazz. Yeah. The other part of the equation, which I also really like though, and I'm going to say it was you that told me, Rash, again, you knew someone that... No, you knew someone went to, was it either Argentina or maybe it was, where Fron Rolli's from? Uruguay, I think it was. And there was some soccer player that you knew, and they went over there to go and watch their kids play or something like that. And their kids were like 5 or 6, and they were playing a proper match, and there was yellow cards being dished out.
Right.
I can't remember which player it was, but it was what I'm trying to say is the difference again between maybe why we're so ahead or so behind in certain countries, because they're starting those professionalism at a young age.
Look, we went last year in October to watch all different Argentina and Brazilian clubs, and they got, at an under 7s games, I could show you videos, like chanting fans,
amazing
people like halving each other, like, you know, proper game at 7 years old,
and they're dishing out cards.
Yeah, so whether that's
otherwise it's going to be chaos.
But that's what I'm saying. That's the next thing, right? Maybe our but that's what I'm saying. Yeah, like you've got one approach, which is like maybe don't go too hard on the kids. I'm just saying. Yeah. Then you've got probably a lot of the other approach, which happens on most side, I think, of the other world, outside of maybe us, right? Yeah. Where they're like, football's our religion. Yeah. So therefore, we breed them young. We breed them. I can't remember which player it was, man. But it was a player you used to play with. That you're like, bro, this was the most amazing thing that I heard. I can't remember, because obviously, me and you've had so many conversations, and we're pretty deep thinkers. But I was like, I thought of that once, and I was like, well, no wonder that country's so good at World Cup when it comes to women or men.
Just like, if you see their personalities, obviously, there's huge about their environment where they grow up and everything like that. But for me, the number one characteristic that you need to be successful in anything is resilience.
Resilience, I was going to say.
For me, is the number one over anything.
It's an interesting topic, because like I have a friend, he was coaching at Porto, and he's like produced some brilliant players, and he's kind of like my go-to. Like, any question I have, he's the guy. And I asked him that question. I was like, out of the players you've seen go onto, and like this is the biggest stage, like Champions League, like what is the defining factor? And he said, like, they didn't have a choice. He's like, the only way they were going to get out of their situation was being a professional footballer. And I've always thought about that, because I'm like, for us in Australia, like, you have options. Like,
plan Bs everywhere.
You have a plan B, but then also, like, I don't know if that's, like, then putting the other hat on. Like, I don't know if that's the best way to
move forward.
I get
what you're saying.
With that pressure on the game, like, wouldn't it be better to come from a stable point of me loving the game, me trying to be the best I can be?
But that's where your internal standards come from, maybe, right? Like you said.
Yeah, and maybe, like, it actually doesn't matter, like, your why. Maybe it's different for different people, but it's more the way that we cultivate the player. And I just thought that was really interesting. And I still think about it. Like, I'm not 100% sure.
I suppose that there's another random thing that I think is super interesting is that people develop at different rates. And I think when you're dealing with kids, those gaps are bigger. So yeah, some players develop, some players hit their peak super early.
Oh,
yeah,
some early,
some late. And I remember now probably because I finished up a little bit earlier and probably wasn't as wasn't as resilient as some other people with football. But there was players when I was an under 12 that would win a game off their own boot. They'd score 9 goals. And by under 16s, they weren't playing anymore. Yeah. They couldn't play.
I think we all know one of them, though. It's like, just quick fire question. Have you watched the Beckham doco?
Halfway through.
I haven't watched it yet. No,
not yet.
I've seen some.
I've seen bits of parts.
Just quickly talking about resilience. That whole thing, if there was one theme that I could take out of that Beckham doco, is that.
After Simeone incident.
I did not think, I did not know that went on because I was 5 at the time. And I was like, but I didn't, but anyway. That what you guys talking about resilience is funny that it correlates now to something that's live. So anyone that's watching, if you have not started watching the Beckham documentary, like I watched 4 episodes in a weekend. I was done. I'm ready to watch it again. Probably for Posh Spice. I was a big fan of. I now follow her on Instagram. I now follow her on Instagram. But incredible, that resilience that we talk about
across every sport, even the ones that are let's say it's an individual athlete and they're unbeaten. There's times in their career where they have to be. There's a career-ending injury, or there's something like that where they have to find resilience. And I think when I look at sport, the more I look at it, the more you delve into docos and things like that. Is where you go, everyone's happening. If you're a top-level athlete, everyone's got to be resilient.
Yeah, and so then going back to your question, if you don't have competition at a young age. And they don't understand how you build. Where is the resilience coming from? Like if there's not a real feeling of, I've failed. Now what do I do?
Life resilience.
And this is what I mean, and this is exactly what I want to get onto, right? Because again, you're not just a soccer or a football academy, let's just say. You're a holistic one. And you keep on using that word because I love it. It's probably genuinely one of my most favorite things to say, where you're almost like a one-stop shop. And I remember while you two were talking about it nice and early, and I think it was before you jumped on board. Again, we went from another one of our many coffees that you probably won't remember. But genuinely, right? And he said to me this holistic, where we want to be like the sports psychology, where we want to be the nutrition or the kids' differences, the ice baths, the recovery, all this type of stuff, and you drill it in from a young age. Then it got me thinking, I'm like, man, these guys are onto something, because there's no other place that offers it.
And I think that's the biggest point of difference at the looking across the board at the other academies and other competition. That's what we do better than anyone.
How are you finding now? Are you finding that as your program, because you're always going to make mistakes across the way, and I think you have to make them in order to learn from them. And I'm not going to ask you what your biggest mistake was or anything, because what might seem like your biggest, you'll make more in the future. We all will. Yeah. It's simple. But with where it's going, you guys are doing this as a part-time after hours thing, I imagine, at the moment. Is that right? I mean, you're putting in a lot of work, obviously, after hours and everything, and getting everything sorted, but you're all sort of traveling and you're all hands-on. Is the aim of this eventually to turn this into a full-timer?
There's a few different discussions around how do we actually approach it, but in short, yes.
Yeah, amazing.
Yes, in short, yes.
Yeah, amazing. And what I love the fact is as well, and Lukey, you may have been doing it out of Melbourne Knights in Summer Street. Were you doing it out of there?
Nah, we're doing it out of CB Smith.
Right, okay. So you do the sessions out there?
Yeah.
And then you guys do the sessions down here in Springvale and as well in Clayton, yeah?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
We have like a mix. We have a lot of coaches as well. And
so talking about your coaches, because this is, again, another different dynamic. This is not just you three trying to lead the band. Like I bumped into Chris Kiosis at Chatty the other day. Same day, 2 hours later, I bumped into him at Melissa in Oakley having a coffee. So you've got Chris Kiosis there. He's one of the coaches. You've got probably one of the best strength and conditionings in Chris Tammer.
Shout out to
Chris Tammer, who his brother used to be a sponsor of this, actually, and a DJ. Tammer, he actually did my birthday, so there you go. And so you've got a couple of different coaches and different thing, again, which you tell me a sports academy, with all due respect, that has got a strength and conditioning coach there for these ages. It's showing how holistic we can be. I'm looking into the camera, but I'm trying to be as genuine as we can. Like, this is why I say that this is the best one, that if you're a parent out there, and I'm not just saying because I'm mates with these guys, but the care of that they show people is out of this world, and you will not find it anywhere else. So I want that message to get across more than anything.
Like, I think, Dim, when we were growing up as well, like we were all super passionate about football. We would all do the extras. We'd all go do our running. We'd all go down the park and have a kick with our mates. You know, on a Saturday, we're trying to train 6 days a week to try and become professional footballers. That was a dream. These guys obviously did it. I think what we want to do is, if you want to go and find strength and conditioning coach, and then you want to go to a sports psychologist, at the moment, what you have to do is you get your technical session somewhere, then you go and get your strength and conditioning somewhere else, then you go and you get your sports psychology. By creating this hub, we're able to create all these things under one banner at an affordable rate that are easily accessible for kids across the board.
It's incredible. I love it. I actually love it. Next thing you guys are going to have an x-ray machine. Like, I actually genuinely love it.
Btfs hospital.
Bro, but I'm not joking. This is what I see the videos. What, x-ray machines?
Yeah, you got
I know solariums if you need. But this is what I mean. It's this holistic approach that's continuing to guide it. And, you know, yes, you guys have got some sort of platform within Melbourne, let's just say, potentially. But at the same time, the proof's in the pudding. And if you're not doing the job, I imagine you'd have more parents leaving than what you guys have got. Like, so how's it working at the moment? Have you got like a wait list on for parents or anything like that that's coming on?
We're just about to close the term 4.
Yeah.
So in terms of wait list, just about to close the term 4 because we're pretty much north. There's a little bit of space, but southeast and central.
But we're pretty tight on our numbers because, like we said, we have ratios to coaches that we really need to stick to if we want to keep the quality.
Yeah, like
that's just something we've been kind of non-negotiable.
Is a non-negotiable. Yeah, the quality, 100%.
Yeah, and even back to what you're saying, like about coaches, like that's been our. And I said it from the start, like from the research I'd done before we started the business, like the hardest part was going to be hiring and retaining good quality coaches, and like we've had some fabulous hires. Like, so happy with the coaches we have at the moment, but it is a constant thing to retain talent because, like, obviously in Australia it's hard. We can't offer people like a full-time coaching gig at the moment.
Made mistakes and had learnings and done it better and continue to do it better.
Massive learning from that point of view of having to constantly need to keep that dialogue open with potential coaches.
How to educate.
I think this is the biggest thing though, that like what I take out of what Lukey just said, if with all due respect, is like having to make sure that you keep the quality so that it's like a coach to enough players and not over where it's not maximum, where it's out of control. Yeah. In what I gather of what you're meaning. Yeah. So I mean,
again, it's leaving money on the table, bro.
Yeah.
You know? Like you leave money on the table to keep that quality high, which is like,
and then you keep people happy and people see the value in what you're doing.
What's been the biggest driver of? I know you're going through a bit of a marketing frenzy at the moment. You know what's funny, man? I'm the
king of rabbit holes, bro.
I actually ask because I love what he's doing. Yeah, like because I'm not good at TikTok and all this type of stuff. Not that they're TikTok, but if anyone's not following Rash on Insta, go and have a look because at the moment I'm getting inspired every single day.
But you know what it is, bro? So this is so interesting, right? So like, I think it's been 2.5 weeks. So I have a mentor, and then also have a virtual mentor, Alex Hormozy, that I don't actually know. So I have one that I actually know I communicate with, and then one that I'm reading this book. Right, Luke knows him. Everyone knows Alex Hormozy.
Yeah,
both of them at the same time had this conversation. With me, Alex, through his book. This one with me personally, which was like, Rashid, if you're not like using social media and posting regularly and actually utilizing that area of business, like you're doing your kids and you're doing yourself a disservice. Like it's very important. You need to get past your nose and your ego of like, I don't really, because bro, I had like 15 posts while I was playing A-League and I was kind of like this guy, I don't need to post myself and I don't like photos and this and that. And I was like, I've got to get past that. If I'm really serious about wanting to grow this stuff and wanting people to know about my mind and our business, it's important to do, right? Yeah. And so I've made a decision, like whether people call me an idiot or a wanker or whatever, I'm going to post every single day, but I'm not going to post anything that I don't actually believe in and don't really genuinely want like people to know.
I'm the biggest fan. So genuinely, I'm not just taking the piss because he's my mate of mine. So I appreciate it, right? Because I love my socials and I don't care if I post something that's just going to put a smile on someone's face, inspire them in any way possible, motivate them. if I feel shit, whatever it is, right? People know me as they jump onto Dib's page and he's an open book.
Yeah.
So again, it's cast that ego. Yeah. I like the fact that you just said before about, and it probably goes to show the mindset that you guys are in, but yourself at the moment as well with obviously organising a mentor and, those things don't come cheap either. Yeah. So it probably goes to show how just what I'm trying to say is how serious you guys are about taking this to the next level.
He mentioned me. He mentioned me in one post, and I wrote straight to him, "Stop this shit now."
Yeah, he told me off. But you know what? You know what? What's interesting about that, right? Is so I've had people message me like you're taking the piss, like, oh, you fucking loser, or whatever, right?
Really?
And I was not like full on, but mates, mates, right? And I was kind of like, I had to think of, am I posting something I don't believe in, or I don't genuinely want other people to know? No. So I think, and hold on. So I was going to put a post up. So this goes down to like algorithms, how stuff works, or whatever, right? I was going to put a post up that I knew would get more views if I did it in a certain way, like wrote certain things on it. And I had this moment where I'm like, no, I want to post what like the genuine thing. And I know that's going to get less views, but it might actually affect someone in the way that I want it to affect them, in a positive, get them up there, whatever, right? And then after that post, like I've genuinely had people go, oh, I'm going back to uni. You changed my mind. Like I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to go back to uni and do what I actually am passionate about. I'm going to start working out. Like I've had people send me this stuff and it's like, fuck the real view, like the view count. If you're posting something that's genuine, and this is the stuff I communicate to the kids, what's the problem with doing it publicly?
100%. The best thing you can do, and I don't care what, no amount of money, views, what you call it, I call it clout, right, will ever help. But helping someone in some way is the best thing in the world, and you get the best intrinsic feeling that no money can ever buy. And whether that be is that you post one thing or you say one thing or you reach out to that one person that didn't think that you would, hypothetically, you know that they're having a shit time or whatever it is. Man, you know what I get a kick out of? And it's so funny, but everyone knows it. On Facebook every day, every time it's someone's birthday. And for some reason, I've just got a lot of Facebook friends and a lot of them I don't know, right? But I still wish them a happy birthday because I'm like, oh, you know what, man, like it takes me, what does it take me, 2 seconds to say happy birthday to someone? I might not know them for whatever reason, but man, it's the little things that I think if we all can get together and continue to put a smile on this bloody planet, we see what's happening at the moment. I don't know, maybe I'm a bit too, like, I want people to be too happy. I want people to be happy.
Yeah.
I get that everyone's got their own issues, but I think there's so many little things that we can do just off topic that can actually spread love.
And I think going back to the IG, like the Instagram discussion, I think this is why handball team, like he's brilliant at doing it. And I think, I don't know if you enjoy it, but you're really good at doing it. I think for me, I'm super old school and it's like I'm a people person, but I want hands-on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if I want to give advice, I want to have a real conversation with someone. I don't want to do it through a screen or through something like that. Unfortunately, that's the way the world's gone.
I get it.
But I think that's why I give it to you. And
but then take literally my last post, right? When I was in Korea, having the worst time of my life, full of anxiety, full of like just sitting in my bedroom, like train in the morning and then just blinds closed, sitting in my bedroom, right?
Why though?
In hindsight, 100%. No. In hindsight, that is what I would call, if psychologists look at me in that moment, they'd say that person's depressed.
Yeah.
Now, whether I believe in, like, whether I think that that's a chronic thing or whatever, in those moments, I was a depressed person, right?
Is this when you were playing at Incheon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Luke sent me a book. Look at these 12 Rules for Life by Jordan Peterson, right? I'm not even joking, man. I swear on my life. Okay, better clean the house and make my bed. That was the first day. That started, okay, next rule was whatever. I can't remember all the rules were, but it got me out of it, man. And for me, my thing is I'm not so much about like making people feel happy. I want people to be exceptional. I don't really have like much of an interest in just making people feel kind of good. I like wanting to push people to be like exceptional and have high standards for themselves.
Do you find that Do you find that some people will always struggle to hit that next level though?
100%.
Yeah.
That's not. It's just not what I like. My target market of what I want like to push people to do.
Yeah,
you know, that's just me.
And those are the hard ones. Is like there's only so much as well you can do. Like
100%
it's got to come from people, and
you can take a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
Energy you can give to them, and
But I think the one thing I've learned is you just got to be there for them.
Yeah,
and not sometimes it's not even like you don't have to give them the best advice in the world. Like just simply being there to chat on the phone and just accept what they've got to say and listen to it. But yeah, for a lot of it, like the kids have got to drive themselves or whatever it is. Any path in life, like it's got to be driven from the person.
How accessible have you guys made yourselves to the parents of the kids that you're training? Like I'm talking, do you guys get a lot of after hours stuff that they call, or what can my kid improve on? Is that happening a lot now?
Yeah.
She's the uncle.
Does that happen a lot?
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to have an open book and just be like, you can contact us about anything.
Yeah.
But
Like
there's
whether it be like misbehavior hypothetically or
like
something like that.
You know, we're especially like the other day after training, I had a chat with a couple of the parents and they were just asking about like the pathway the kids should go. Like for us, like that's a conversation like we're happy to be involved in. But there's also a balance. Like some people will take if you let them, like some people will call you every 2 days. You know
what would be cool though? I don't know if you guys do it or not, but I just thought of it just then. Remember how we used to have like school teacher interviews?
Yeah.
Like do like soccer parent interviews?
Yeah.
To be fair, our behavior has been pretty good, man. We have set a standard. Yeah. We've set a standard. There's a couple sessions that it's happened here and there, but in general, across the board, in comparison to what I've seen in other sessions, pretty good.
But I think it's also good. Like the education component of it's important.
I think you guys would struggle to switch off. You three.
Yeah, for sure.
After hour sessions.
Yeah, I've had to tell him to stop messaging me
at
10:30.
I can
like
see
the day before a game, I'm like, and he'll message me at like 9:30. And the thing, I'm like that.
Yeah, an idea.
If I get a message at like 9:30 about the business, like I will not sleep. Like so, I've had to put my phone on silent, whatever.
Yeah,
like,
I could see that.
But those are the things you learn like about working with each other.
We'll sit down, Dimmy, and we'll map out the 6 monthly targets, the annual targets, and Rashid will call. Next thing, we understand. Call the next day with another idea. Can we add this one in? Can we add this one in?
I love it. I love everything that you guys stand for. And again, I'm probably a little bit biased, but there's a difference between being biased and proud as a friend, and there's a difference between actually, I think, believing in the actual product that you guys offer. And like I know we've had countless chats about wanting to do different things. Like I think I had you guys that actually refereeing one of our intra-club soccer games at work. That was one of my ideas. But we could go on all day about this.
We'll get you down doing some.
You know what I reckon?
Selling the pro players.
Do you know what I reckon we should do? I'll be so keen to do like a Btfs like. And again, Humble Climb will jump on board as like a sponsor as well. But like a Btfs like meet the parents night. Or something I'm being serious, like a not even like an alcoholic beverage, man. Like we'll go to Vanilla upstairs.
Vanilla. Shout out to Vanilla.
Yeah, 100%, right? Dennis hooks it up. And we go Vanilla upstairs. We do like a little mini event about introduction or anything about our service or what we do. And I just want to take Btfs like literally worldwide, bro. Like I feel like I'm talking like an owner and I've got 0 shares in this thing. But I'm thinking about this.
If you want to purchase some,
bro,
speak to Sal. We can sort
I love
it out.
the company, man. I just love it. I'm so proud of you guys, and I genuinely mean that. So it's awesome. I want to finish off always with the humble three. First one that I want to kick things off with, and again, keep them quick fire if we can. If you weren't doing what you're currently doing with this soccer stuff, what would you be doing and why? Start with you, Lukey.
You put me on the spot.
Go to Rashid while he's thinking.
I'd be selling yerba mate on the street in Uruguay.
I love this.
I'll be working with youth boxing.
Love this.
App. I think an app of some sort. I've always wanted to make an app.
I love this stuff. If you've got a billboard, question number 2, if you can have a billboard at any destination, but you've got to tell me the destination, and it can say whatever you want it to say, go Lukey.
Melbourne, come to Btfs Academy.
I love it.
Or what? Favorite quote or something? Or what? Is my face on it?
Could be whatever you want, man. It's your billboard. You can have whatever you want on it.
Quick fire, man.
Oh God.
Salim, go back to
Ibiza, football is life.
In Ibiza?
In Ibiza, I reckon, yeah. I don't know why. It's just...
I love that. I can imagine you as a pool cleaner, to be honest.
Longer hair, curly.
Know, man. I don't know. I just could, man. You're in the Caribbean for sure. Back to you, Rash.
I've honestly got no idea. I'm so sorry.
I reckon you'd be at top of the Como.
Top of
South Yarra, or the Astor Theatre. I reckon you could be somewhere there.
Definitely somewhere near.
And it'd be and no doubt, this is what I'm thinking for him. And tell me if I'm wrong. It'd be some sort of deep quote.
Yeah, it's got to
be. Yeah,
or I mean,
don't always play the algorithm. Don't always go the algorithm.
Yeah. It'd definitely be now near somewhere like Chapel Street, just
100%. Yeah, I love that.
So the women can see. I love
that. Last question as well that we always finish off with, and it doesn't have to be a family member. Mm-hmm. So I do stress that because a lot of people, it's obvious. Like if you ask me, I'm going to say my mum's my biggest inspo, but it doesn't have to be a family member. Is there anyone in particular that continues to drive you guys the way you're currently being driven at the moment with life and inspiration-wise, etc.? Lukey, Jay.
I'm going to say these two. I'm going to go real
shit.
sappy,
that's freaking awesome, man.
We get into each other, man. We've had some blowouts, but I
love that. I love the fact that your brother's playing the Scottish Premiership. You don't even say him.
He's not getting any more credit than he deserves. He got mentioned twice. He's not getting any more.
Man. I actually love it. I've actually got a photo with him. I reckon he's that good looking. Anyway, Bro, I've always said you are, bro. No, that's cool. I love that actually that you said that about them. That's actually so cool. They're probably going to show how much love's in the room. Yeah, bro.
Like inspo.
Yeah.
When I think about it, probably competition. Competition is probably like my biggest inspiration, to be honest.
And just
I love competition.
Just diving into this, right?
People are doing well, and I want to compete against them.
Hypothetically, right? If we're talking Btfs, are we talking? You're seeing another football school out there that's starting to pick up or get good numbers or get great grades.
Give them the clout.
No. I'm not saying a name. No. I'm not saying a name, but I'm saying competition-wise, is that what gives you drive?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And no, the number one thing is like. Genuinely, when I see a kid like improve, and I think, oh my God, could this kid go on and play Socceroos or Matildas or something? Like that's like for them. But in terms of like a business perspective, or me personally, is like competition, man. I love competing with.
And
people.
Who would be your inspo? Would you have an inspo as a person?
Okay, take for example Jake, right? Like he's my best mate. I've known him since 5 years old, and I think like there was a dynamic there of like. Competition that drove us, which was like, shit, like he's getting good. I'm going to run more than him. And I loved it, man. That's how I love him as a brother. And it's like, I love that him doing well pushes me to be like, yeah, that's awesome. I want to see how well I can do, And I think I've had that dynamic with a lot of people that I've been close with, or whether it's a business now where it's like, oh yeah, I know the owner of that academy. And I'm like, we're going to be better than
we want to go head to head. Yeah, I love it. What about you, bro?
Like, I suppose a thing or a topic or a word, I'd probably say responsibility. I think like we've got I suppose it's pretty generic, like cliche, but we've got so much opportunity here in this country. And I suppose I've seen, my father, my parents do amazing things coming from nothing. And I think I owe it to them to be the best person that I can be, to create the best things in this world that I can do. Whether that be, that's not necessarily financial, but I think like driving the kids to be the best people they can be. And I think for me, it might not necessarily be as the same as these guys seeing kids go on and be professional. For me, it's seeing them grow as human beings.
My grandfather, just quickly, once said to me, it's one of the most truest things, and it stuck with me to this day. Kids are like flowers. They brighten up the house. And just that as a quote, overall, like if you think, for me, it's always stuck with me. Like no matter what type of day you might be having, like I see it with my boss's kids, I'll be honest, they're coming to work. Like I could be having the worst, shittest day, maybe lost a couple of listings or whatever. And then these guys come in with not a worry in the world. And I'm like, man, these guys just make me happy.
And you owe it to them. I think like you owe it to them to give you the best, like, and I think he's said it, Rash has said it before, Luke said it before, like you go to these things, you're feeling tired, you might have having a shit day, you leave it at the door because you owe it to these kids to be the best person you can be.
I love it.
Exactly.
Guys, LJ, RM, SM.
Luke Diego.
I'm going back with Diego. I started with Diego and I'm finishing with it. Man, boys, I seriously, this has been in the talks for a little while, so I genuinely want to say a massive thank you for you guys coming on. We're very good mates, obviously, but I'm so proud of you guys as a friend, and I can genuinely say that, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart, to see you guys grapple and take this thing on head on the way that you have, because you're growing by the day. And I'm so proud because, again, I get to see it firsthand, but I've seen where you started and where you're at now. The humble climb is well and truly happening. And I can't wait to see where this ends up, man. I really
when
can't.
The black hoodies come out, give us a hoodie.
Do you know what I want? I'm hoping that I can have like a child and then all going well one day. That's my dream, to be honest with you. Like being a dad. Being my dad is my number one goal in life.
What's the name going to be? Do you know yet? Have you got some in the
If
back?
it's a little girl, it'll be mum's.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, but
Boy?
it'll be if
Dimmy? Would it be Dimmy? Dimmy Jr.?
Nah, I don't know. I'll probably go something religious because I'm pretty religious. I'll be honest.
Jesus.
It's gotta be.
I don't know, man. I don't know. So, but if they do, boy or girl, I know where I'm sending them. Yeah. And I reckon we work on. I reckon there's some opportunity here to work in with a few parents. Maybe we get like a little Btfs 5% off for an upcoming trial or something happening with the humble climb and Btfs. We'll sort something out, guys.
Don't forget the dinner as well.
The dinner's, mate. The dinner's happening. So, boys, massive thank you. Can't thank you guys enough. You guys are legends. You're stars, and we'll continue to rock and roll and make this everything that it is. So. Continue to smash it. Thanks everyone for liking, continuing to comment, like, subscribe, do all the good things. Sponsors, as always, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. And we'll bring this episode out in a couple of weeks. Chat to you soon.